Okay, so here we are back in my personal Facebook account. Um, let's go ahead and run an ad just so you can see the process. So um, I've got a page here that targets Jane Austen fans. Okay, Jane Austen is an author, early 1800s, late 1700s author that appeals to women. They love her. So um, of these 3,700 likes, it is 99% women. So anyway, you may or may not have heard of her, but she is very much alive in her fans. So this page targets her and anything Jane Austen. So I made a post recently down here for a movie called Austenland. It's all about Jane Austen, reenacting modern times. So this is definitely something that would appeal to this audience. So what I want to do then is I want to drive an ad to this post. So when people click on this and buy it from my Amazon affiliate link, I can make a commission, right? So we're using this as an example. So I'm going to come over here, go to the Facebook ads, the ad manager here, and I am going to optimize my ad for engagements on that post. So I need to choose the page I want to run an ad on. Then I need to choose which post I'm going to be promoting. So here it is, the Blu-ray. So continue here. I want to get engagement on this post, so when people click on it and go buy it, then I make a commission for having done so. So the first thing that I'm going to see here on a page post engagement is it's going to get the ad preview. So here's an ad preview, what it's going to look like in somebody's desktop news feed. It's going to display just like that. I've got advanced options here where I can choose tracking pixels and stuff like that, but mainly this block right here is for the ad preview. So that's what it's going to look like on the desktop. This is what it's going to look like on somebody's mobile feed. So you can see it's changed it here because the ad image size wasn't optimized for mobile, so it shrunk it down. Um, Maybe I don't like this, and I don't, for whatever reason, feel like mobile's the traffic I want. I can remove that. That way, I've only got the desktop, and coming down here, showing up in the right-hand column. Do I like this, the way it displays? Yeah, I think it's great. I think that'll captivate people, so I'm leaving that. So I've got my ad then showing up on the desktop and the right column. Okay, audiences. I can choose from a variety of different audiences. There's a bunch of different places to get different audiences, and I'll do a section on custom audiences um, in a minute here. But first, let's take a look at the stuff below that. So first, location. So I know that the people who like Jane Austen are typically in English-speaking countries, so I'm just going to start listing out some English-speaking countries. Of people who will probably buy something from Amazon. Right? So, and the likes, right? So here I have the countries that I'm willing to allow Facebook to display this ad to people in those countries, right? Age, I'm going to definitely want this ad only to be shown to women um, who are out there shopping. So who's got money? People can start working at 16. Ladies who like Jane Austen are probably in this demographic between those two numbers. So I can say women between those two numbers um, that speak English, that live in these countries. Right, so I can get fairly specific there on the demographic. And then this is the important part here is driving into the interests. Okay, so um, for big, broad interest categories, you can do these drop downs and say anybody who likes movies, right? So any woman who's between 16 and 55 in those countries that likes movies. And so my potential reach here is 66 million people. So that's way too broad, right? That's going to be a lot of ad spend before I find somebody specifically who likes Jane Austen movies. So instead of that, I can just start typing, and Facebook, just like Google suggests, will start to populate interests that follow along with what I'm typing. So I'm just going to start with the obvious ones. Jane Austen, great. People who like Jane Austen that fit in this section are that. Now you'll notice the difference. Total people who have expressed an interest in Jane Austen is 4.6 million, right? But people who fit this age group and only in those countries and that only speak English and that are only women are 1.7. So I'm getting more specific now. I know Jane Austen's novel is called Pride and Prejudice. I know people who love the Pride and Prejudice film. So here's a bunch of suggestions already. They can see where I'm going with this, right? And they're smart enough that they're giving me a bunch of suggestions. I'm looking for anything else that is Jane Austen right now. Sense and Sensibility is her book. Emma is her book. Mansfield Park is her book. Persuasion. Okay, so I'm taking all these in. Colin Firth is an actor who is the star in one of the Pride and Prejudice ones, and the gals are crazy for him, so I'm putting him in. Right, so just right off the bat, looks like I've grabbed it. Keira Knightley is another star that's in a Jane Austen film, but she's in so many other films, and she's so broad that I might be hitting the wrong audience, so I'm not going to bring her in, because it could be displaying this ad to somebody who liked Keira Knightley in Pirates of the Caribbean and could care less about a Jane Austen movie, so I'm not going to bring that one in. That's going to be too broad for me. So I've got a good start here, right? And you can see that my potential reach is wider because of all these different interests I've added. Somebody may have clicked that they like Pride and Prejudice, but never clicked that they actually like Jane Austen. And so I'm capturing anybody in these interests, if they have at least one of these interests, and fall in these categories up here. Then they come over here to my potential reach. So now I could call this good and call it fairly specific, or I can, if I want a bigger potential reach, and this is fine. I mean, 3.2 million is fine. Once you're in the hundreds of thousands, I think you're fine. I mean, again, it's going to depend on your target audience and the offer and stuff like that. But let's just say I want to go broader, I want a bigger audience. Then I can start thinking outside of the box, right? And this would probably be better to do on a separate ad so I can split test. So here I have a fairly focused ad. I guess a fairly focused ad wouldn't have this actor in it. So that's a fairly focused ad, very much on her and her books and her pieces of work. I can go, broader, Sense and Sensibility, bringing in all the films since my post is about films, right? So anybody who's liked the film and TV rendition of Jane Austen books. Okay, I've exhausted the sensibility one. Let's go Pride and Prejudice TV series. Pride and Prejudice TV series. Pride and Prejudice film. Okay, so I'm going to say that one's exhausted. Let's go for Mansfield Park. Right, so you see it's kind of a process as you think through who your target audience is going to be, and appreciate your patience as I do this in real time here, because this is kind of the process. You get in here and you click around and you realize stuff and bring in what you like. So Northanger Abbey movie, that's hers. See if there's any other versions of Northanger Abbey. There's another film. Oh, I didn't even get the novel to start with. And for whatever reason, there's two listings for Northanger Abbey, one that's capitalized and one that's not. Grab them both, why not? Right, so here I brought in all the films that are related to these novels and this author. So that's probably going to be a pretty good target there. And then, I mean, I can go as far as to say don't target people that are in my group because I'm going to hit them a different way, on my page and stuff like that. Or I can just connect them all, or I can run this ad only to people who are fans of the page and who've expressed interest in these films. There's different ways to bring it in the target, but for now, let's just say everybody. So everybody who's living in these countries, who's between this age, who's a woman, who speaks English, who has these interests, at least one of these interests, my ad's going to display to them. Okay, so I can give my ad set a name. Austenland Blu-ray, and then remind myself that it is, the novel and film audience, and that this ad is optimized for engagements, right? So just some notes to myself, in that name, that way I can remember what I'm doing. Set my budget per day. Let's run it at, $25 a day. Run it continuously until it's just not working for me anymore. And again, you can change right here, but I'm going to bid for page post engagement. Place the order. Okay. So here we have that ad. So I look at all my campaigns. I've got this one right here. Here's that ad. When I click on it, it shows me what it looks like in the news feed. It shows me my potential audience. I can always come in here and edit any parts of this, and it's going to show me my performance right here. So as the page post engagements come in, it'll tell me how much I've spent on them per engagement. Over here, it'll tell me that I'm getting, of those engagements, so many of them are likes, so many of them are comments, and so many of them are clicks directly to the website, things like that. So I can just start to scale things up and down depending on how it's performing and things like that. So that is an ad. Now things get a little different when you create an ad. Oh, it shows the objective for me. Let's back out a little bit. So if we want to create an ad with clicks directly to the website, what it's going to do is it's going to make sure that website is fine, and then it's going to pull in whatever images it can from the website. You may want to keep them, you may not like them, but then at this point you start to upload your own images, or you can even find images with Facebook's agreement with stock images. I mean, I'm going to run an ad to to the Idaho's government site. Let's find ads. Let's find images that say Idaho to people. Idaho is the most linear footage of fishing rivers in the nation. So let's do a fishing picture. This one's great. It says Idaho right on it. Stuff like that, right? So I can choose my favorite images. Shutterstock just lets me borrow them in here for free in Facebook to run the ad. Now what's different with this is, since I'm not promoting a post, I pretty much just have to create a post for Facebook to do it. So it says choose a Facebook page. So you have to have this associated with a page. If you don't have one, you can create a new page. But this post has to be associated with the page. So ideally, I'd have an Idaho page, right? If I was promoting Idaho. I need to write a headline here. So using those copy secrets I told you, 7 best fishing holes in Idaho, right? Sometimes you have to get creative because you only have so many characters. 7 best fish holes in Idaho. Alright, so that's your right, so however you can put your headline in there and then the text. Click here to see the beautiful pics of the 7 best fishing holes in the state of Idaho. So you can see where this is going. This text right here comes up on the top. The headline is actually below the image. And this is a new feature. Facebook allows you to add call to action buttons, so you can learn more, right? Or you can shop now, book now for an event. So however you want to do that. Again, those buttons they're optional, but so you're gonna want to split test with or without them. But so far, I've really liked them. And then you get to click through here. You're gonna make sure it looks good on a mobile. I think it does. This image comes off really great. Makes them feel like they can download those pictures. And again, it's showing you both, right? So you can see here on the right-hand side. I don't like this one as much on the right-hand side. I do like this one. I think that this is big enough that it says something. This image is kind of blurred and doesn't speak to me on the right-hand side. So let's not run right-hand column ads. The mobile ads are fine. The desktop ads look great. Cool. So that's how you're going to do an ad directly to a website. Again, we come down here with audiences and an interest and things like that. So let's look a little bit at the custom audiences. I'll show you how that works here, and I'll go ahead and do it in the next video.